Tom stepped off the shuttle, his boots clinking softly against the metallic surface of the landing bay. He gazed around, taking in the sights of Xyleria's bustling spaceport. Neon signs flickered in alien scripts, and a variety of creatures bustled through the terminals. The twin suns of Xyleria cast a warm, golden light that seemed to infuse the air itself with energy. Mila, a Xylerian scientist assigned as his liaison, approached him with a graceful stride. Her skin shimmered with a subtle iridescence that reflected the twin suns' light, changing hues with her movements. "Welcome to Xyleri, Tom." "I'm Mila," she said, her voice melodic and soothing, filtered through the translator device pinned to her collar. "Thanks, Mila. It's quite something here." "Nothing like back home," Tom replied, his eyes still wandering over the panoramic view of the spaceport. Mila smiled, a wave of turquoise rippling across her skin. "I imagine Earth has its own charms. Shall we proceed with the tour of our facilities? There's much I'd like to show you." "Lead the way," Tom said, adjusting his bag over his shoulder. As they walked through the spaceport, Mila pointed out various architectural marvels and technological advancements unique to Xylerian culture. Tom listened intently, occasionally stopping to take photos. "The design here is fascinating," Tom remarked as he observed a structure that seemed to pulse with life. "Does it serve a specific function?" Mila nodded, her eyes brightening with pride. "Yes, that's the Helix Spire. It harnesses solar energy from our twin suns and converts it into power for this district. It's both functional and symbolic of our commitment to sustainable energy." Impressed, Tom took a closer look. "Incredible. There's something similar on Earth, but nothing on this scale." Their tour continued, with Mila introducing Tom to various colleagues, scientists and engineers who were eager to learn about human technology and share their own advancements. Each introduction was accompanied by an exchange of cultural pleasantries, teaching Tom the basics of Xylerian etiquette. At the research lab, a human-Xylerian joint venture, Tom met Dr. Soren, another key human collaborator. "Tom, good to finally meet you," Dr. Soren said, offering a firm handshake. "I've heard much about your work with advanced propulsion systems." "Thank you, Dr. Soren. I'm excited to see how our technologies might complement each other," Tom replied, shaking his hand. Mila and Dr. Soren led Tom to a viewing deck where they could observe the ongoing experiments. Mila explained, "Our goal here is not just to advance technology, but to merge our perspectives in ways that benefit both our species." As they discussed potential collaborative projects, Tom felt a genuine excitement bubbling within him. The possibilities of combining human ingenuity with Xylerian technology were boundless. As the day drew to a close, Mila and Tom stood watching the sunset under the twin suns, the sky a canvas of fiery oranges and mellow purples. "Your world is truly beautiful, Mila," Tom said, his voice tinged with awe. Mila looked at him, her skin glowing softly in the fading light. "And it's richer now with the addition of your presence and knowledge, Tom. I look forward to what we can learn from each other." Tom nodded, feeling a profound connection to this alien world, underlined by the promise of new friendships and the thrill of unknown discoveries. As the first chapter of his journey on Xyleria closed, he was eager to see what the next day would bring, his heart open to the union of human and alien knowledge beneath the watchful gaze of the twin suns. Chapter 2: Cultural Exploration. The next morning, Tom awoke to the alien chirping of Xylerian birds outside his accommodation window. Eager to explore more of Xyleria's vibrant culture, he met Mila at the entrance of the capital's central market, an explosion of colors, sounds, and scents that was a stark contrast to the utilitarian style of the spaceport. "Today is about understanding our way of life, not just our technology," Mila explained as they stepped into the bustling market. The air was thick with the aroma of exotic spices and the calls of vendors hawking their wares in a symphony of languages. Tom was drawn to a stall displaying a variety of hand-woven fabrics, each pattern telling a different story of Xylerian heritage. "These are incredible, Mila. What do these patterns mean?" Mila touched a cloth with a spiral design, her skin flickering blue. "This pattern represents the dance of our moons around Xyleria, a significant part of our mythology." Fascinated, Tom purchased a piece of the fabric, envisioning it as a perfect gift for his mother back on Earth. They continued through the market, Mila introducing Tom to traditional Xylerian dishes. At a food stall, a robust Xylerian chef served him a plate of yerrik, a spicy stew that warmed Tom from the inside. Laughing at his reaction to the heat, Mila said, "It takes some getting used to, but it's a favorite during our winter months." As they ate, they discussed the similarities and differences in their cuisines, with Tom explaining some Earth recipes. You should try making spaghetti sometime. It's simple, but delicious. I'd like that, Mila replied, genuinely intrigued. Maybe you can teach me one day. After their meal, they visited an art gallery showcasing works from various Illyrian artists. Tom was particularly struck by a series of luminescent paintings that changed color depending on the viewer's angle. These paintings are made with a special pigment that reacts to light and heat, Mila explained as she watched Tom's mesmerized expression. It's like nothing I've ever seen, Tom admitted. Art that changes based on how you look at it, it really makes you consider perspective, doesn't it? Yes, it's a reminder that everyone sees the world a little differently, Mila mused. Leaving the gallery, they wandered into a park where a group of children were playing a game similar to tag, but with complex rules involving teamwork and strategy. Mila and Tom sat watching the game, discussing the importance of play and learning social skills and teamwork. It's not so different on Earth, Tom noted. Kids learn a lot about how to interact with others through games. Mila smiled. It's universal, then. Play as a foundation for social education. As the suns began to set, casting the sky in double golden hues, they found themselves at a quiet overlook by the water. The day's activities had brought them closer, bridging the gap between their worlds through shared experiences and laughter. Mila turned to Tom, her expression contemplative. I've enjoyed today immensely. It's been enlightening sharing my world with you. Tom nodded, his heart full. It's been amazing, Mila. I feel like I'm starting to understand Xyleria beyond the surface. And I'm looking forward to sharing more of Earth with you. They stood together in silence, watching the water reflect the brilliant sunset, comfortable in each other's company and eager for the days ahead. The exchange of cultures had just begun, and both were aware of the deepening connection forming between them, fostered by genuine curiosity and respect. Chapter 3. Deepening Bonds. The following day, Mila invited Tom to visit Xyleria's Great Library, an architectural marvel nestled at the edge of the city. Its spires seemed to touch the sky, and its facade shimmered with iridescent panels that reflected the light of the two suns. For Tom, stepping inside felt like entering a living, breathing entity of knowledge. As they walked through the grand hall, Mila explained, Our great library contains not only texts but energy archives, living memories that can be shared and experienced. Living memories? Tom repeated, intrigued. How does that work? She led him to a chamber filled with crystalline structures, each pulsing faintly. These crystals store our ancestors' experiences. When touched, they can project those memories. It's how we preserve our history and culture. Eager to try, Tom placed his hand on a crystal at Mila's encouragement. Instantly, his mind filled with sensations, scenes of past Xylerian city bustling with life, its people celebrating a harvest festival. He could feel their joy, smell the fragrant flowers, and hear the laughter. Pulling his hand back, Tom caught his breath. That was overwhelming. It felt so real. Mila nodded, her skin glowing softly. It is a way for us to truly connect with our past. But it can be intense, especially for someone not accustomed to it. Recovering, Tom smiled. It's amazing. We have history books on Earth, but nothing like this. It makes me wonder how differently we'd view our past if we could experience it firsthand. They continued exploring, stopping in a section dedicated to art and poetry. Mila gestured toward a translucent screen that displayed shifting verses. This is Xylerian poetry. The words change based on the reader's mood, adapting to offer new meanings. Tom leaned closer, fascinated by the flowing symbols. Our poetry is powerful too, but it's static. What you see is what you get. I'd love to hear one of your favorites. Mila hesitated briefly before reciting a few lines. Her voice, lyrical and soft, painted images of Xyleria's twin suns rising over crystalline seas, of love lost and found beneath their glow. As she spoke, her skin rippled with changing colors, mirroring the emotions carried by her words. When she finished, there was a moment of silence. Tom, moved by her recitation, said, "Thank you for sharing that. I could feel every word, even if I didn't fully understand it." Encouraged, Mila asked, "Do you have any human poems you'd like to share?" Tom thought for a moment, then recited lines from a favorite Earth poem about longing and connection across vast distances. His voice was steady, but there was a rawness to it that caught Mila's attention. She listened intently, her gaze never leaving his face. "That was beautiful," she said quietly when he finished. It speaks to the human spirit, this desire to reach out, to connect. Feeling the weight of her words, Tom found himself opening up. It's what drew me here, I suppose. The chance to connect with other worlds, other people. It's a humbling, you know. I do, Mila replied, her light dimming slightly in what Tom had come to recognize as a sign of introspection. It's why I joined the exchange program, to learn from other species, to see beyond the confines of my own world. They continued exploring, pausing often to discuss the artifacts and memories stored within the library's crystalline chambers. As they shared stories of their childhoods, their dreams, and their fears, a genuine bond began to form. Tom found himself captivated not only by Mila's words, but by the way her skin reflected her emotions, creating a visual language that deepened their connection. Eventually, they arrived at a secluded balcony overlooking the vast Silurian plains. The wind carried the scent of distant flowers, and the twin suns cast a warm, golden glow over the landscape. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "Thank you for today, Mila," Tom said finally, breaking the comfortable silence. "This has been unlike anything I've ever experienced." "It's been special for me as well," she replied, her gaze meeting his. "I've shared parts of myself that I rarely reveal. I'm grateful you've listened." Moved, Tom reached for her hand. Her skin was cool and smooth, yet it warmed at his touch, shifting to a gentle violet hue. "I'm here, Mila. I want to understand, to share more." A soft smile played on her lips as she leaned closer. "Then let us continue to explore this bond between us." In that quiet moment beneath the light of two suns, Tom and Mila's connection deepened. The walls that separated their worlds seemed to blur, leaving only the raw, honest emotions of two beings seeking understanding and companionship. It was a beginning, a fragile but hopeful step towards something neither fully understood but both were willing to explore. Chapter 4: The Language of Touch. The warm glow of Xyleria's twin suns had dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of indigo and crimson. Tom stood at the entrance of Mila's personal observatory, feeling a mixture of curiosity and nerves. Tonight was different. Mila had invited him to share a piece of her world that few outsiders ever saw. "Come in," Mila called softly, her voice carrying an undercurrent of anticipation. She gestured to a comfortable sitting area near the large, curved glass window that offered an unobstructed view of the neon-blue ocean below. Bioluminescent waves lapped gently at the distant shore, casting flickering patterns on the ceiling. "This place is incredible," Tom said, unable to tear his eyes away from the view. "It's like watching light dance." Mila approached him, her form glowing softly. "The ocean responds to the energy of our two suns. It's alive with movement and change, much like our emotions." Tom turned to her, sensing the shift in her demeanor. "Why did you bring me here tonight, Mila?" Her skin, which usually shimmered with shifting colors, settled into a deep blue, a shade he'd come to recognize as vulnerability. "There's something I want to share with you, but it's difficult to explain." She reached out, her hand hovering just above his. "Xylerians communicate deeply through touch, but not in the way humans do. Our emotions are amplified, translated into energy patterns visible on our skin. It's a form of intimacy, a way of revealing oneself completely." Tom nodded slowly, his pulse quickening. "I'd like to understand." "Show me." Their hands met, and Tom felt a tingling warmth spread through his palm, radiating up his arm. Mila's light shifted, flowing into shades of pink and gold, a visual representation of the connection forming between them. She closed her eyes, focusing on the sensations, and Tom followed suit, letting himself be guided by her energy. "Can you feel it?" she whispered, her voice softer than he'd ever heard it. "This is how we express trust, closeness, affection." "I can feel it," Tom replied, his voice low and steady. He opened his eyes to see Mila's light intensify, enveloping them both in a soft glow. Her emotions were laid bare, and for a moment he felt exposed too, stripped of the walls he usually kept around himself. Mila's other hand traced a line along his arm, leaving trails of warmth and light. "You're different, Tom, in ways I didn't expect. And I find myself drawn to you." The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Tom moved closer, his breath mingling with hers. "I'm drawn to you too, Mila. This connection, it's something I've never felt before." She leaned in, their faces mere inches apart. "Then let us see where it leads." Their lips met, tentative at first. Mila's light shifted, flaring bright as their kiss deepened. The touch of her lips was both familiar and alien, soft yet electrifying. Tom's hand found her waist, and he pulled her closer, feeling the warmth of her body through the thin fabric of her robe. The room seemed to respond to their growing passion, the bioluminescent waves outside the window synchronizing with Mila's shifting light. Tom's other hand traced the contours of her back, and she shivered under his touch, her skin radiating a pulsing glow that matched the rhythm of their heartbeats. They moved to the low cushions near the window, never breaking contact. Mila's fingers explored his face, his neck, as if memorizing every line, every curve. Her light softened to a gentle, inviting hue as she guided him down, their bodies intertwining. Tom's lips found the curve of her neck, eliciting a soft sigh that echoed through the room. Tom, she breathed, her voice trembling with a mix of desire and vulnerability. I want this. I want you. Their connection deepened as they gave themselves to the moment. Mila's light danced wildly, illuminating their entwined forms. It was a union of body and soul, a merging of two beings from different worlds, seeking solace and connection in each other's embrace. As they lay together afterward, the glow of Mila's skin settled into a serene blue, and Tom held her close, feeling the steady rhythm of her breathing. Outside, the neon waves continued their dance, a silent witness to their union. Mila spoke first, her voice a gentle murmur. This was more than I could have imagined. Beneath the light of our two suns, you've shown me what it means to be seen, to be known. Tom pressed a kiss to her forehead. We've only just begun, Mila. There's so much more to share, to learn. They lay together, wrapped in each other's warmth, their hearts beating in unison. The bond they had forged was no longer just a possibility. It was a reality, one that promised new beginnings and deeper connections. In that moment, beneath the soft glow of Xyleria's twin suns, a human heart and an alien soul found a place where differences became strengths, and love bridged the gap between their worlds. Chapter 5. Moments of Misunderstanding. The days that followed their night together brought both exhilaration and challenges. Tom and Mila found themselves navigating a delicate dance of deepening affection while balancing the expectations and traditions of their respective cultures. It wasn't long before they faced their first major test. One afternoon, Tom joined Mila at the Xylerian Symposium Hall, where a gathering of prominent scientists and cultural leaders had convened to discuss the progress of the Human-Xylerian Exchange Program. Tom, eager to share his experiences, presented a proposal aimed at merging human and Xylerian engineering techniques for renewable energy. As he spoke, he noticed murmurs and furrowed brows among some of the Xylerian delegates. When he finished, Mila stepped forward to address the assembly. Tom's proposal is ambitious and holds great promise for both our worlds. His experiences and skills bring a new perspective. An older Xylerian, his skin flickering with agitation, interrupted. Perspective is one thing, Mila, but integrating human methods without fully understanding the long-term implications risks destabilizing our traditions. Tom felt a surge of frustration, but kept his composure. With respect, isn't innovation about taking risks? Our collaboration is meant to push boundaries. The tension in the room grew. Mila's skin shifted to a pale blue, a sign of discomfort. Tom, she said quietly, her voice tinged with concern, perhaps we should explain our approach more thoroughly. No, I think I've been clear, Tom replied, his tone sharper than intended. This hesitation isn't about understanding. It's about fear of change. The air grew heavy with silence. Mila's light dimmed, and she stepped back, her expression unreadable. The meeting continued, but the spark of connection that had been so strong between them now felt fragile. Afterward, Tom approached Mila in the quiet garden outside the hall. What just happened in there? He asked, unable to hide the edge in his voice. Mila didn't meet his gaze. You don't understand, Tom. The proposal is complicated. It challenges deeply held traditions. Traditions that hold you back, Tom countered, his frustration boiling over. I thought you wanted change. I do, Mila said, her voice rising. But it must be done with care. You can't simply force change upon people who aren't ready. Tom took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. So, what? We just wait until everyone is comfortable. That's not how progress works. Mila turned to face him, her eyes filled with hurt. You're not listening. This isn't just about progress. It's about trust. If you can't respect that, then maybe we've misunderstood each other. The words stung. Tom opened his mouth to reply, but found himself at a loss. He had come here to bridge gaps, not create them. He stepped back, his anger replaced by a sinking feeling of regret. Maybe you're right, he said quietly, before walking away. Days passed with little contact between them. Tom immersed himself in his work, but everything felt hollow without Mila. He replayed their conversation in his mind, realizing how his own impatience and pride had blinded him to her perspective. He had been so focused on what he believed was right that he failed to see the nuances of her world. One evening, while reviewing schematics in his quarters, there was a soft knock at the door. Tom's heart raced as he opened it to find Mila standing there, her skin glowing faintly. For a moment, neither spoke. "I've been thinking," she said finally, stepping inside. "We both made mistakes." Tom nodded. "I pushed too hard. I didn't respect what you were trying to tell me. And I didn't explain it well enough," Mila admitted, her voice soft. "I wanted to support your vision, but I needed more time to bring others along." Tom sighed, relief washing over him. "I never wanted to hurt you, Mila. This connection we have, it means everything to me." She stepped closer, her light warming. "I know. And it means everything to me, too. But we have to find a way to navigate this together." They stood in silence, the weight of their words hanging between them. Slowly, Tom reached out, his hand finding hers. "We can't let this divide us. We have to keep talking, even when it's hard." Mila squeezed his hand, her light brightening. "Agreed. We'll find a way." They spent hours in deep conversation, sharing their fears, hopes, and perspectives. They discussed how to present their ideas in ways that honored both tradition and progress, and how to bring others along in their vision of a shared future. As the night wore on, the tension that had driven them apart began to melt away. In its place was a renewed understanding, a promise to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. Tom and Mila knew their journey would be far from easy, but they were ready to confront it, side by side. Chapter 6: Reconciliation and Revelation. The days following their heartfelt conversation were focused, filled with long hours of work and collaboration between Tom and Mila. Together, they refined their proposal, blending Xylean traditions and human ingenuity. The process was painstaking, often filled with debate, but it allowed them to rediscover the depth of their bond. Their efforts culminated in a small but promising trial project, a hybrid energy system designed to harness the unique qualities of Xyleria's two suns. On the evening before the trial's presentation to the council, Tom and Mila decided to take a break. The weight of the coming day hung over them, and they both knew they needed to clear their minds. "Walk with me?" Mila asked, her voice soft but resolute. "Of course," Tom replied, sensing the need for quiet reflection. They left the confines of the research complex and walked through Harmony Park, a vast expanse of greenery and glowing flora that reacted to the touch of the twin suns. It was a place of peace and meditation, and tonight, the colors shimmered with a fading light. "Do you remember the first time we walked through the market?" Mila asked as they strolled along the stone path. "It feels like a lifetime ago." Tom smiled at the memory. "I remember. I couldn't keep up with all the sights and sounds. Everything was so alive." "You've adjusted well," she said, glancing at him with warmth. "Not everyone does." "Thanks to you," he replied. "You made it easier." Their steps slowed, and they stopped near a reflecting pool. The water's surface mirrored the stars beginning to emerge above. Mila's skin glowed softly, casting gentle patterns on the water. "Tomorrow could change everything," she said quietly. "It could," Tom agreed, feeling the weight of her words. "But no matter what happens, we did this together. That means something." They stood in silence, absorbing the moment. Mila turned to him, her gaze intense. "There's something I haven't told you. It's about why I joined the exchange program." Tom listened intently, sensing the importance of her words. "For years, I've questioned many of our customs," Mila began, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "I've wanted change, but change is difficult here. Joining the program was a way to see if other ways of thinking could coexist with ours. I hoped to find answers, but instead, I found more questions. And then I met you." Tom took her hand. "You've always been brave, Mila. Questioning things, seeking new perspectives, that takes courage." "I don't always feel brave," she admitted, "especially when I'm faced with the possibility of failing in front of my people. But you've shown me that even failure is a chance to learn." Tom squeezed her hand. "We'll face whatever comes together." She nodded, her light brightening. Together. As the night deepened, Mila led Tom to a secluded grove within the park. The air was warm, filled with the scent of flowering trees. "There's one more thing I want to share," she said, her voice soft. Tom looked at her, his heartbeat quickening. "I'm listening." Mila stepped closer, her hand resting on his chest. "This place is sacred to my people. It's where we come to find clarity and strength." Her skin glowed, and Tom felt her energy envelop him. "Show me," he whispered. Their lips met, the connection between them rekindling with an intensity that felt like both fire and light. Mila's touch was both gentle and urgent, her fingers tracing lines of warmth along his shoulders and back. Tom responded in kind, letting himself be guided by her light and presence. They sank to the soft ground, surrounded by the glowing flora that pulsed in rhythm with Mila's emotions. Every touch, every kiss was a silent vow, a promise to face whatever challenges lay ahead with open hearts and unwavering determination. When they finally lay together, the grove around them glowed brighter, as if nature itself acknowledged their bond. Mila rested her head on Tom's chest, their breaths slowly synchronizing. "I believe in us," she whispered, her voice steady and full of conviction. "So do I," Tom replied, his hand resting over hers. "No matter what happens tomorrow, this moment is ours." They stayed like that for a while, savoring the peace and strength their connection brought. In that quiet grove, under the watchful light of the twin suns, they found solace and renewed purpose. The path ahead would be difficult, but they were ready to walk it, side by side. Chapter 7, Declaration. The morning of the presentation arrived with a calm, golden light filtering through the windows of the council chamber. The room, a grand amphitheater filled with delegates from various parts of Xyleria and beyond, buzzed with anticipation. Tom and Mila stood side by side near the front, their faces a mix of determination and nerves. "Are you ready?" Mila asked, her eyes meeting his. Tom nodded, exhaling slowly. "As ready as I'll ever be." They had spent weeks refining their hybrid energy project, a merging of human and Xylerian technology to harness the power of Xyleria's twin suns. If successful, it would represent not only a technological breakthrough, but a symbol of the potential for unity and collaboration. The council leader, an elder with skin that shimmered like molten silver, called the session to order. "Today, we hear from Tom of Earth and Mila of Xyleria. Present your work." Tom stepped forward first. "Honored members of the council, we stand before you not as representatives of separate worlds, but as individuals united by a shared goal. The project you're about to see is the result of collaboration, dialogue, and a willingness to embrace each other's strengths." He gestured to the holographic display behind him, which lit up to reveal intricate designs of the hybrid energy system. "Our proposal merges human engineering techniques with Xylerian solar harnessing methods. By combining our technologies, we can achieve efficiency levels neither of our worlds could reach alone." The chamber murmured with interest. Mila took her place beside him, her voice clear and strong. "This project represents more than just an exchange of knowledge. It is a testament to what we can achieve when we respect and learn from each other. We seek not to change who we are, but to grow together." Their presentation continued with detailed explanations of the technology, its potential applications, and the safeguards they had put in place to honor Xylerian traditions. As they spoke, Tom and Mila moved seamlessly, supporting each other's points and addressing questions from the delegates. One question, however, came from a skeptical Xylerian elder whose skin glowed with a harsh, reddish hue. "Why should we trust this collaboration? History has shown that rapid change often leads to instability. How can you guarantee that this won't disrupt our way of life?" Tom paused, choosing his words carefully. "I understand your concern. Change can be difficult, even frightening. But this isn't about imposing one way over another. It's about creating something new together, with respect for what came before." Mila stepped closer, her skin radiating calm blues. "We've taken every precaution to ensure that our methods align with Xylerian values. We are not here to erase the past, but to build a future that honors it." The elder remained silent, his expression unreadable. Another delegate, a younger Xylerian with skin flickering in shades of green, spoke up. "I believe their work deserves a chance. The possibilities are too great to ignore." Encouraged by the support, Tom continued, "We're not asking you to abandon tradition. We're asking you to consider how tradition can evolve, how it can adapt to the challenges and opportunities of our time." The council leader raised a hand, signaling for quiet. "We have heard your arguments. It is now time to witness the results." With a nod, Mila activated a small-scale prototype of their hybrid system. The device, placed in the center of the chamber, absorbed light from the artificial sources above and converted it into energy. The display showed impressive efficiency rates, far surpassing anything seen before. The room erupted in murmurs. The data spoke for itself, proof of their project's potential. But the true test was yet to come. "Let us hear from those who will be most affected," the council leader said, turning to the audience. "What say you?" One by one, delegates shared their thoughts, some skeptical, others cautiously optimistic. The debate was fierce, but it was clear that many were beginning to see the value in Tom and Mila's work. As the discussion drew to a close, the elder who had voiced his skepticism earlier stood. His eyes met Tom's, and for a moment, the room fell silent. "Change is a path we all walk, whether we choose it or not. Your proposal carries risk, but it also carries potential. I will not stand in its way." The decision was made. The council voted to approve the trial implementation of the hybrid energy system, with strict oversight to ensure its alignment with Xylerian traditions. Relief washed over Tom and Mila as the chamber erupted in applause. They had done it together. After the session, the two retreated to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm, golden glow over the landscape. "We did it," Tom said, the words feeling almost surreal. "We did," Mila agreed, her light shimmering softly. "But this is just the beginning." Tom took her hand, a smile playing on his lips. "I wouldn't have it any other way." They stood in silence, soaking in the victory and the possibilities ahead. Their journey had been challenging, but they knew that together, they could face whatever came next. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: the bond they had forged would guide them through whatever lay ahead. Chapter 8: A New Dawn. The approval of the hybrid energy project marked a turning point for Tom and Mila. In the weeks that followed, they worked tirelessly to implement their prototype on a larger scale. Together with a diverse team of human and Xylerian specialists, they set up the first full-scale hybrid energy station on a serene plateau, surrounded by the shimmering beauty of Xyleria's crystalline plains. The launch day arrived with a crisp morning breeze, the twin suns casting a soft glow over the gathering crowd. Representatives from both Earth and Xyleria had assembled, curious and hopeful about what this collaboration could bring. Tom and Mila stood at the forefront, both nervous and excited. "Are you ready for this?" Tom asked, his eyes scanning the rows of faces watching them. Mila nodded, her skin radiating a gentle, steady light. "I am if you are." They exchanged a brief smile, then turned to the control panel. With a final input of commands, the hybrid station hummed to life, drawing energy from the twin suns and converting it with unprecedented efficiency. The crowd watched in awe as the readings displayed on the monitors confirmed what they had hoped. Their work was a success. The applause was thunderous, and Tom felt a swell of pride. He looked at Mila, who was already watching him, her eyes filled with emotion. "We did it," she whispered. "Yes, we did," he replied, his voice thick with gratitude. After the ceremony, as the guests mingled and the celebration continued, Tom and Mila slipped away to a quiet spot overlooking the station. The sound of laughter and music drifted to them on the wind, but here it felt as if time had slowed just for them. "Do you remember when we first met?" Mila asked, a hint of amusement in her tone. "You looked so overwhelmed." Tom chuckled, leaning against the railing. Everything was new and different. But you made it easier." "You adapted quickly," she said softly. "More than most." He turned to her, his expression serious. "It wasn't just about adapting, Mila. It was about finding something worth adapting for. Something or someone who made it all worthwhile." She stepped closer, her light shifting to a warm, golden hue. "You've changed me too, Tom, in ways I never imagined. You made me question, made me grow." They stood in silence, their hands finding each other. The bond between them, forged through challenges and triumphs, felt unbreakable. As they gazed at the horizon, where the twin suns began their slow descent, a gentle breeze rustled the crystalline grass around them. Mila spoke, her voice thoughtful. "We've built something here that goes beyond just technology. We've shown that our worlds can come together, even when it seems impossible." Tom nodded, his grip tightening on her hand. "We've proven that connection, real, meaningful connection, isn't limited by where we come from. It's about what we're willing to build together." Mila's eyes met his, filled with a mix of hope and determination. So what do we build next? Tom grinned, feeling lighter than he had in years. Whenever we want. The future is wide open. They stayed like that for a while, watching the suns dip lower and the sky transform into a canvas of rich colors. It felt like the beginning of something even greater, a journey that would take them beyond the boundaries of their respective worlds. Later that evening, as the stars began to appear one by one, they walked back to join their friends and colleagues. The energy station stood as a testament to their hard work and dedication, a symbol of what could be achieved when two worlds and two hearts came together. As they approached the gathering, Tom squeezed Mila's hand once more. Together, together, she replied, her light shining brightly. They stepped forward, ready to face whatever challenges and triumphs awaited. Beneath the watchful gaze of two sons, they walked into the next chapter of their lives, their bond unshakable and their hearts united in purpose. If you like the story, follow for us more.